Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Physics Surgery. This is the part 2 of the collision of ball between the walls, with one of the wall moving in gravity free region and all the collisions being elastic. So in case you have not watched the part 1 of this particular video, I would urge you to go to the part 1, try to finish the mechanical solution of the first question that I have given, which was about calculating the velocity of the ball after the wall's distance has been reduced very slowly to a distance of L by 2. Okay, so I would urge you to do that. And in the present problem, we'll see the second question along with the promised analogy that I would use to resolve the first question also. Okay, so the question goes like this. So for the uninitiated, there was, you could see the right of the screen, there were two walls with which one is fixed and other is moving very slowly. You could see the value of V1 is very small, and the ball is moving back and forth between the walls. And since the wall starts moving, this velocity of the ball will change, and over a period of time, when the wall moves to a distance of L by 2 from the other wall, the velocity was asked in the first question. Okay, the second question of the comprehension that I have presented is about what's the average force on the wall after the distance of the between the walls is reduced to half. So the ball keeps on imparting momentum to the wall, so there will be an average force that you could calculate. So this was the formal wording of that question. So if you are watching this for the first time, right, I would request you to pause the video, try both the questions, and in case you have already watched the part 1, try the second question either using a mechanical one, mechanical solution, or in case you have already figured out the analogy that I was trying to put forth in the first question, you could also think of that in the second question. So whichever way, try to pause the video here, give it a fair try, and then follow me on the solution. So what I'll do is, first I'll provide the alternative solution to the first question itself, for which we already got an answer in the mechanical form. So here's the alternative outlook to the first question. Then we'll go to the average force question. Okay, so this was the mechanical solution I already provided in the previous part 1. So let's move ahead. So can you solve this quickly using an analogy from a different chapter? And the chapter, I think most of you would have guessed it by now because of the collisions and the walls and all that, is the kinetic theory of gases. Okay, so let's try to, but it's not very straightforward, right? So in gas, you have innumerable number of molecules moving in different directions, at least three independent directions. So on the right of the picture, you can see that's how an ideal gas, or a gas which obeys kinetic theory of gases, behaves, right? So you could see molecules moving in random velocities in all three possible directions. I have taken a monoatomic gas. So there, the degrees of freedom, you could argue, is 3, because three directions of motion, and therefore the CV, as we talk about, is 3r by 2. CV in general is fr by 2, where degrees of freedom f is 3 in this context. So the value of Cp would be Cv plus R, obviously, and the gamma ratio of the molar heat capacities of the ideal gas, monatomic gas, you all know would be 5 by 3. So this is very straightforward results that any of the JEE students should be knowing. Now let's see how we can incorporate this into our challenge. So our challenge is an equivalent of a one-dimensional gas. What I meant by one-dimensional gas is, here molecules is only allowed to move in x direction. You may complain there's only one molecule and I can't use KTG for one molecule. So just introduce as many number of molecules as you want to make sure that KTG is going to be correct in this, right? So whatever happens to one molecule, I'll argue will happen to all of them. There is no random velocity in this particular problem of our challenge. Okay, so the walls are moving back and forth. Since the wall is very massive, I can ignore all the collisions between the balls, and each ball's fate is the same as the other one, is the argument, and they're only moving in x direction. Okay, so because there is only x direction of motion, I would now say there is only 1 degree of freedom. And correspondingly, in my hypothetical one-dimensional gas, CV would be FR by 2, which is R by 2. Then you add an R to it, CP will become 3R by 2, right? And therefore, gamma of this gas would be 3. Now, I've just made the assumption of gamma, right? So let's see where I can use this. Okay, so picture becomes even clearer in the next slide. So I have to think, if this were a one-dimensional gas, what is the process that is involved in moving? If the wall could be considered like a piston which is moving and the gas is getting compressed, it's a one-dimensional gas. So we'll just go back to definitions of what are dq, dw, and du that we learn in thermodynamics of ideal gases, right? So dq is nothing but supply of disordered or chaotic form of energy. And for students who are Olympiad aspirants, they would be actually knowing dq is associated with disorder, that is entropy, right? So whenever you supply heat to the system, it is a form of energy which increases disorder inside the gas. Okay, right? What is dw? On gas, that is work done on gas. It's a supply of ordered form of energy. You'd see the molecules actually gain momentum because of the PDV work or whatever work that you do. It's an ordered form of supply. And both of these together will try to change the value of du, which in turn is related to our quantity called change in temperature, right? So because of both these forms, then the argument is, unlike our ideal gas where the walls, if they compress, they actually start providing orderly velocity, and there could be a heat supply from outside in usual ideal gas processes, right? You end up having both the forms of dq and dw. Whereas in here, I don't see any disorder being supplied by the agent who is moving. The ball was moving in a very ordered fashion. There is no random velocities at all, right? So I could argue that the present one-dimensional gas challenge now is a dq is equal to 0. That is an adiabatic one-dimensional gas problem, right? And what was the gamma we got in the previous picture, right? The previous picture we got the gamma as 3, right? So I would say that we are well within our rights to assume that the gas follows a PV power 3 is equal to constant, right? Where I know in one-dimensional picture, volume has to be taken as length. Okay, so I've just written V so that you can recognize that in terms of kTg. So it's actually a length in one dimensions. Okay, so and since this follows our kTg rules, PV equal to nRT is independent of whether it's 3 dimensions or 2 dimensions. So that's what kTg specializes in, right? So I could simply say PV is directly proportional to T, and therefore T and the power that you would be getting in this particular part would be square, right, is equal to constant. So these are the two forms of the process that I can write for the given challenge. And also the collisions and the number of collisions and all these things I can borrow from kTg and say the velocity that the particle had is proportional to square root of temperature, a very simple derivation that we all know. Okay, so which means in the present problem, if the volume has become half, then the pressure had become 8 times, I think, right? So that is something I can try. Pressure became 8 times. And using the second equation, if the volume had become half, the temperature has become 4 times. And you see the magic happening. If the temperature becomes 4 times, then the velocity actually doubles. And that is what we got using the mechanical solution in the part 1 of the video, right? Right. So now we are associating it with the temperature and pressure. If it ideal gas of one dimension, remember, for that to work, you need more number of balls, innumerable number of balls doing the same duty as the single ball that you had in our question, right? So that's the idea of the analogy. Now let's apply it to the second question, right? Where the average force exerted by the ball on the wall A is to be calculated after the distance has been reduced to L by 2. Okay, right. So let's calculate. You can go ahead with the mechanical system solution, or now that we have realized the analogy, let's try to put it to use. Okay, so what was the value of the average initial force Fi? It would be 2mv naught, which would be the momentum imparted for every collision, and time duration between two collisions would be 2L divided by V naught, where you get the two cancelled, and mv naught square divided by L would have been the initial value of that. Since the area and all that are the same, the pressure would be associated directly to the force, right? So we saw in the previous slide that the pressure became 8 times. Can you see that, right? So we got that it became 8 times, which immediately implies that the value of the force also becomes 8 times, and which implies the once the wall has come closer, due to more frequent collisions, the average force definitely in this problem will become 8 mv naught square divided by L. Okay, so right, so we can go back to the actual page of the question and check whether the option exists or not. Yes, there is an option, and this was the answer. And for the first question, there was this as the answer. Okay, so I hope you like the way that the solution was presented to you, both in the mechanical one was also not that simple, but once the thermodynamics part is presented, I think you'd start seeing the world of these collisions in a much different light. And also your thermodynamic concepts also get more in-depth meaning because of the visual presentation of the collisions. Okay, so now I think I'm well within my rights to expect you to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and link to the channel is in the description below. So please do that, and I'll be coming up with much more content of similar quality. So if you are my regular visitors and I already subscribed to my channel, please do click on the notification bell icon so that you keep getting your regular updates. Okay, so thanks for stopping by, and let's meet in another video.